Hello guys, welcome back to my channel The Nature and the Wild. So, capturing stunning bird images is very fascinating and very interesting subject in the bird photography. In today's video, I'm going to discuss with you, I'm going to share some tips with you how you can take sharp and stunning bird in flight photographs. So stay tuned with me, we're going to discuss each and every aspect of this subject. So guys, we're going to break this down in some few steps. We're going to discuss about the camera settings, what kind of settings we should need, what is the autofocus and what kind of autofocus point we should use, what kind of different camera setups we need to use, and also we're going to discuss about some other pro tips so you can take your stunning and sharp images each and every time you're out in the wild. In the camera, there are three major settings we always have to work with: the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO of the camera. And believe me guys, in the flying bird object, these three things plays very major role. The first thing is that shutter speed. You have to judge what kind of shutter speed you should use according to your subject. If you want to freeze the motion, you need to use higher shutter speed. Also, you need to think about the bird size. If the bird is a big eagle or it's a buzzard, and so that means the bird is a slow moving subject. So then you can use your shutter speed at least 1 by 1500 or 1 by 2000 of seconds. And that will give you very nice and sharp image and also freeze the motion. Again, you need to decide this according to your subject. In general, if you're out and you saw a flying bird and quickly you take your camera, always by default put it 1 by 1000 minimum when you're shooting outside. Birds have a very dynamic movement here and there. So 1 by 1000, you should start from there, and then according to your subject, you need to increase the shutter speed. And in the bird in the flight, we always want to freeze the motion. So I will suggest at least 1 by 1500 to 2000 should be your starting point for the shutter speed. Take a smaller subject like a hummingbird. A hummingbird, they flaps their wings very fast. It's really dynamic. These images of those small birds require more shutter speed to freeze that motion of their wings. To freeze that, you need to use at least 1 by 3000 of your shutter speed or 4000. For smaller birds, 1 by 3000 to 4000 should be more than enough to freeze their movement. What about the picture quality? Okay, I put my shutter speed, but if the image quality is not good, it's more dark or more bad, it's not presentable, what should we do? Definitely we need to play with other two key pointers, aperture and the ISO of the camera. So as a starter for all the beginners and mediator photographers here, I will suggest always keep your aperture wide open. Use the maximum aperture of your lens. So I use RF100-500, so for me it's 7.1 and it's absolutely stunning at that 7.1 aperture. Okay, third thing is that ISO. What I do basically, I cannot predict the lighting condition all the time, right? So what I do during the bird in flight or moving subject, I keep my ISO on auto. There are a couple of ISO diagrams you can choose according to the daylight, but believe me, they doesn't work according to your real life need, because when you are going out, the lighting conditions may be very harsh or maybe very dull. So you need to select your ISO. I put it on the auto ISO and I play with the shutter speed most of the time. So if you see your image is too dark and the light is also low, you can bump up your ISO a little bit and keep your shutter speed a little bit slower. Okay. and you can have a nice picture. So these are some judgment that will only comes with the practice. When you go out and you do more practice, you will get this kind of stuff. You are done with your shutter speed, ISO and aperture. You must choose the drive mode of your camera. There are some basic camera settings. The first thing is that always use your camera's high drive mode. So that means H or H plus in the Canon. So that gives you more frame rate when you press your shutter button. Second thing is that you need to look about the autofocus point. Bird in flight requires more space to cover by the camera to keep your subject in focus. So in today's world, all the mirrorless camera are very highly sensitive and they are very good in the technology, so they can easily recognize what kind of subject you are photographing. So in case of the bird, if you use a full area scan or zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 in Canon cameras, like I use in R7, or the full screen, you can always make sure that your camera is intelligent enough to track the bird. It can detect the animal and it can track it. So to track that, you need to turn the AI servo on your camera. And also you need to track the animal tracking, set it to bird. Make sure it's not on the car or human. Most of the camera have different kind of setups, And then you need to select your camera's tracking sensitivity. Always make sure all these high-end cameras nowadays have a tracking sensitivity meter. So you can put it more sensitive or locked on to the subject. So in that scenario, when you put your camera up and you capture the bird image, you see the bird is flying, you just put your shutter high speed drive mode, more frames are coming, you're not missing any of the shots, and your bird is also inside the focus zone, and your camera is tracking the animal and tracking the eye of the bird. Believe me, these images will be always sharp and stunning. You must understand your atmosphere. When you are out in the wild, want to take a bird in flight photograph, you need to understand, you need to study the behavior of the bird, how erratic or how dynamic movement the bird is giving. So have your patience, look at the bird and try to understand if the bird is moving too much, which direction it's moving most of the time. So more you move, study the birds, more you understand their movements, and then it is more easy to track them through your camera. Pan the camera like the bird is flying, you can look at the bird and you can pan your camera towards that, and in that condition what's going to happen, your camera will be consistently tracking the animal, consistently tracking your subject and take the picture. So this all comes all together with the practice, with the patience, and go out in your neighborhood, doesn't matter which bird it is, seagulls, ducks, just try to shoot them when they are doing more actions. This is another point you need to keep in mind, guys. When taking the birds in flight, you must understand the composition of the image. That should look stunning, look nice, the atmosphere, the background, the foreground of the bird. Take the action images. Bird is diving into the pond or is taking a flight. So this kind of images will always present you, make you stand out of the crowd. The right type of lens for photographing bird in flight, it never comes to your close. So always take a telephoto lens which is more faster in the focus speed, like more low aperture f4, that is a very nice lens. Or you can also use RF100-500 if you're a Canon users. With the f7.1 I use it a lot, and the autofocus speed is marvelous with all the RF lenses, So use at least 300 mm and more focal range of the lenses. That will give you more closer look of the bird. If you like today's video and some discussions about how to photograph the flying birds, please put your comments in the comment box. I will definitely get back to you. Please like, share and subscribe my channel, The Nature and the Wild. Thank you guys.